Good morning, you guys. A quick tour of the garden. It is now almost mid-November. You can see the mum is in its full glory. This is probably the only mum. I actually have a white variety, but this is probably my favorite mum. The white variety of mum, which I'll show you in a little bit, once it turns color, it looks pretty ugly. But this one you can see is in its full glory. It's beautiful. Beautiful fuchsia color. I love it. It's a highlight right now in the garden. Everything else has slowly died back from the frost that we've had a couple nights ago. You can see the coleus has definitely seen its better days. The frost definitely hit it. The Butilon is still doing great. It still has some flowers on it and green, so we'll see how long it lasts. The Julia Child Rose is doing good. I pruned it back. It still has some flowers. So still giving me some pretty things to look at. But overall, it has dropped a lot of its leaves. It does have black spots on it. All roses down here where I garden, zone 7B, generally suffer from black spots. But I love roses enough to just keep them, even though they have issue with that. You can see the grass is overtaking my garden. We're going to just let it be. It's going to act as a barrier to basically mulch the garden for the winter time. And then we'll treat it again in the summer. The coneflowers are doing great. They are blooming their heads off and still giving me more blooms, which is pretty amazing. The only issue I'm having with them is I have rabbits in the garden, and these ones haven't really suffered, but quite a few of the other ones they've eaten almost down to the base. You can see there's bunny droppings right there. So they've been over here. Usually they'll decimate your plant by eating all the foliage, and then they'll go after the buds. This one hasn't suffered bad, but I've got 3 or 4 other ones that they completely ate all the way back, so we'll see. I might have to put something over top of them. Make sure that they survive through the winter, which they will because they're perennial, but then they need to survive the wild beast of bunnies that come and harvest and eat them. The butterfly bush is doing great. This is just a small one that I propagated, trying to flank the opposite one, which is over here. This one is doing great. You can see it's still trying to bud and sending up new, new flowers. I need to come back and deadhead, but like I said, it's mid-fall. Generally, I don't need to do that, but it is still reaching in the 70s and 50s at nighttime, so technically, it's still really warm, so they're still growing. Over here, this is the pineapple sage, doing great. The pollinators are trying to still do their last-minute prep, I believe, for fall time. So you can see they're flying all over this plant. And it actually looks really good considering that we had the cold snap just a couple of nights ago. Salvia is doing great. I love this variety of salvia. I've propagated more. This salvia over here is a great pollinator attractor, but I don't really like it as much. It's too frilly, I don't know, floppy. This one is more structured and I really like it. Here is one of the coneflower that the bunnies have been around, and you can see they eat all the leaves, which isn't good for the plant. You can see all the flowers, all the buds that's still trying to flower, and then next time you'll be by the garden and they will be eaten off or chewed off of the stem. But this one's still trying to bloom. The other mums that I have is this one over here. It's a dainty white looking one, but you can see it looks pretty bad once they are done blooming. That one probably lasted 2 weeks. It was pretty when it bloomed, but because of the whiteness, amazingly enough, it turned into almost that main color over there. Just tiny looking ones, but they're actually all white like this one. These are all the other coneflowers that have been decimated by the bunnies. You can see there's almost no foliage. Here are bunny droppings that's aged. So I guess it's kind of a cycle of life. The plants feed the bunnies do their droppings, and then they in turn feed the plants. So I guess it works all around as long as the plant itself survives through the winter with no foliage. The yarrow is doing good. It has rebounded from the stress of the hot weather, and you can see it's looking fresh. Got some blooms, but it looks like it's probably sending off new blooms here. Right there. Sorry, I've realized I need a new phone. This Android that I've had for such a long time, the camera is not as good quality, so we're gonna have to look maybe in next year to get a new phone. Again, the grass is overtaking the yard, but just want to show you, I'll probably leave it in here because it's gonna act as a barrier to help insulate the plants in. Miranda Lambert is doing great, still sending me new flower. Miranda Lambert, the hardiness, not hardy, the, what's the word I'm trying to describe? The vigorous growth, I guess, of it. It literally can grow about 2 feet in one season. I've trimmed it back, you can see right here. And from there, it sent out this new shoot, and it's almost 2, well, it's actually more than 2, might be 2.5, 3 feet. So the growth habit on it is very vigorous. Here is another mum, same variety that's propagated. It's the white one. See down here, but it has finished its bloom. Amazingly enough, I don't see as many pollinators or butterfly, considering how beautiful the flowers were. I guess they don't have a lot of pollens for the pollinators to come. This was the hibiscus. It doesn't flower. What it brings into the garden is its foliage. The foliage is that deep burgundy-ish purple look. And while I do enjoy it, I just feel like they kind of overtake the space. So I've had to prune it back like 4 or 5 times. But you can see the cold frost definitely decimated it. It doesn't like cold at all compared to the hardy hibiscus, which I have, which it can tolerate. It will die back, but it will tolerate. The butterfly bush is nearing its end, but still sending out new growth just because of the weather. But you can see I haven't really pruned it back much, but it still has new flower and new growth. Still beautiful. So I'll let it be, although I've taken some cuttings from it. The vermillionaire is nearing the end of its life cycle. The cold frost definitely did its thing to the flower, but you can see where it was insulated, new growth is submerging. So as long as we don't get any cold snap, but that probably won't be. So I might come in, take the rest of these for cutting, and then grow them for next year. It was a beautiful, beautiful plant this summertime, attracting hummingbirds and pollinators. Another butterfly bush. Still sending out new stems, new flower heads, so I'm just gonna leave it be, and then we'll cut it back probably in springtime when it shows new growth. Couple things back there. Let me see. I've got some camellias that I've rooted from cutting. I've got 4 that survived. This one here and another one over there. They are probably 8 to 10 inches, but doing great. Look, here was a butterfly cocoon. I don't know, there might still be a cocoon that, I don't know if anything's gonna come out of that. It looks pretty dried up. Not sure the color, because I should label mine, but I don't take the time to label, and I just wait and let it surprise me with what color it is when it comes out. The angel trumpet took a hard hit. I've actually in the process of going through them, defoliating them, and then just taking the stem, and I'm going to root them for next year. The pomegranate here, here, and here is doing good. They're supposed to be cold hardy. I'm not sure what exactly that means, because with fruit plants you don't want it to completely die back, because it takes too long to push out new growth to give you fruits. So I'm hoping that they won't completely die back and just go dormant, and then come back. But pomegranate is more of a tropical plant, so I'm just trying them out now to see how well they do. This is a forsythia. It's really straggly, so I need to come in and prune them, but I'm afraid that this might be an older variety that I've propagated, so I don't want to prune anything if it's going to set its flower on the old stems back here. So I really don't want to cut it back. I'm going to just let it be for this year, see the growth habit of it for the following springtime when it flowers, and then see what I want to do with it. The hardy hibiscus took a hit as well, but it still has some life to it. So as long as our weather stays hot or warm, it might send out a couple more shoots. I'll probably come in, you can see droppings here. I'll probably come in and just cut it back to leave maybe like 6 inches, just so I know that it's here, so I don't accidentally plant something over it. I do tend to do that a lot when I cut things back. And if I don't leave a stump, I don't know what's there. And then next spring, I get so excited I want to plant, and I overplant it with another plant. This is the Thai basil. It got so heavy that it split right here, and I haven't had a chance to come in and just cut it off and just prune it back. I did take some cuttings from it to root for next year, but I was actually surprised at how big it got. You can see here, if I zoom out, it's actually a large plant. You can see where it got damaged by the frost, but where it was insulated, it's still flourishing, still flowering. And pollinators are enjoying the little flowers that it sends off. The elephant ear definitely took a hit. So this is, it does look a little messy. Miranda Lambert still giving me flower here. It's another Miranda Lambert. It actually propagates very well. So I was able to salvage quite a bit from the old home. Here's a Miranda Lambert that finished its flowering. It's dropping all of its leaves. Well, I've got this new beautiful one coming in. Look at how beautiful she is. She's probably one of the most beautiful flowers I have. Definitely hybrid tea, single stem. It is not a floribunda. Every single stem has a single rose. It's not multiple. That's the difference between floribunda and single stem, just hybrid tea roses. This here is the angel trumpet on both sides, flanking this arbor that I have over here that we created. Definitely taking its toll. Look at this flower still trying to push out when there's like no other greenery around. This little tiny flower. You can see these are all buds that still needs to push out, and it's been warm enough that this one is actually pushing out. But it got so cold that everything started dying back and dropping all of its leaves. But because these ones are still in its pod, it's still trying to send out the flower. So that's pretty unique. I haven't seen anything like that. I would have thought that all the flower, well, these ones are already spent. You can see because they dropped their flower, and these are just the little stamina that comes out after the flower has dropped. This one flower hasn't dropped yet. You can see And this flower is trying to come out. So I would have thought that it'd drop all of its flower once it shows that much stress. It's looking a little worn in here. The Rio Samba still giving me flowers here and there, but there hasn't been this amazing flush compared to the old house where, I mean, it bloomed its head off. I still love the flower. It's still beautiful, but for some reason this year has been tough on it, and maybe that's because, you know, this is the first year I've transplanted them. So they've been stressed. I've been trying to prune them back, and it looks like they're starting to come out a little bit better. But that's probably the last clump I'm gonna get this season. Back there I do have a couple more flowers. Cannas, Confederate Rose over there, which has not bloomed for me. There was a couple buds, but they got eaten up by whatever was eating them. So I think I'm gonna come in. Oh, look, I might have one more bud. Over here, hang on, let me go on this side. So I haven't seen any flower on this Confederate Rose like I normally would, like at the old house, but there is a bud there. There's still life. They stressed this year. I'm not sure what this issue is. I haven't had it with the previous year, and something is here munching the leaves because you can see there's holes in the leaves. But this is the first flower bud I've seen that is actually on there. Usually something is eating it. But you get all of these new growth. Now, Confederate Rose, they will come back each year. They'll die all the way back, and then they'll come back from the ground. So it's perennial where I'm at. I'm going to come in probably in the next couple of days, take cuttings, and then root some more. When it is healthy, it's a beautiful fall flower. My Confederate Rose is just all pink. Some people have the white, and I would love to have a variety of white, or some are white and then they turn pink. I've heard some people say theirs are white and then it turns pink, but mine just is all pink from the beginning to the end. So hopefully that one will bloom, and then I can show you. The magnolia, this is the Japanese magnolia. I'm not sure this variety. It's either Jane, which is the big flower one. You can see it's setting its buds for springtime. The leaves will all die back, and then first sign of spring, it'll warm up, it'll send flower, and then from the flower then comes all the leaves. So it's a pretty spectacular show in the springtime. Really looking forward to that. I've got 3 planted here, one here, here, and this one. And another elephant ear that definitely seen its better days. It was glorious this springtime and summertime. I mean, it was amazing, and it got so big. Like this one I planted in the ground. Look at how many of them. If I dig down and divided them, I would have so many. Like each of these could be divided up. And I asked my husband to help me because this thing is going to be a beast to dig up. But I would like to move it because right now it's kind of foremost in a spot covering other areas. So I like to put this more in the background as opposed to being center stage. Didn't realize it got this monstrous, but apparently it loves it. The coneflower, here's more over here. You can see tail signs of bunny droppings here. That means they've been around here eating this. I do know that the deers love them too. So hopefully we can put some of the dogs out here, and then they can chase away the deers and the bunnies for me. Everything else is just kind of in its lull stage. Due to its hot and cold, it can't really decide what to do. Look at this beautiful coneflower. Still trying to bloom. I've definitely got a couple more buds on the coneflower, But hopefully we don't get any cold snaps. But I think after this week, there might be a couple more cold front coming in. And then more angel trumpets. And then that basically just ends the tour. Wait, oh, I forgot the center garden. More pineapple sage over here, which is causing all the bees to come over and try to get the last little bit. You can see the bees are flying around and landing on the pods. The coleus is done for the year, I believe. I mean, at the base where the grass is, I think there's still some sign of life, but another cold snap or two, it will definitely take its toll. So you can see some new growth coming out here. So as long as we keep it warm, it might come back. But the pineapple sage seems to be taking front and center stage over here. And the lantana is slowly dying back, but there's still some signs of life underneath everything. If they have a little bit of coverage, they seem to be doing fine. And it looks like, silly me, I have some of those spider lilies planted in here and I forgot about them. So I planted the lantana over top of them. These are the spider lilies, this little flower looking thing. These are the spider lilies scenting out its new growth, and then eventually it will flower. I must have forgotten that I put some bulbs in here and there's no sign of life for them, so I planted the lantana over top of them. So we'll see how that does. Probably when I cut this back, the lantana will die back. They are annual in our zone. So I did some cuttings. These are the older varieties, though, that are annual. Now, there are newer varieties that are hardy. They will die back, but they'll come back and flesh out new growth. I think these two that I have here are annual. They probably, most likely, will not come back. But it's kind of nice to see that the lilies are starting to sprout out. Looks like I planted quite a bit of bulbs over here. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 over here, and with those they will divide and may grow this entire area, so we'll see. And I think that concludes our tour of my fall garden. I do have peppers. Look at all these dried peppers. Aren't they beautiful? They kind of reminds me of Christmas. I need to come in, pick all these once they're dry, and then put them in the oven to dry it and cure it, and then use them as pepper flakes. What I would like to do is come in, cut it back hard, dig it up, and then try to winterize it. I've done that a couple of times and that works out great. Either that or you just take cuttings from them and grow them fresh. With new stems or stems that are still alive, you can do that very easily. But you can see over here, I think I went overboard with my Thai peppers this year. Only I like it really spicy and I used it quite a bit, but there's no way I could eat all of these. And you can see every single stem sent out a pepper. So there's just no way to eat this amount of peppers. So this is really pretty though. I really like how it looks. Almost reminds me of Christmas. I need to come in and take down all of the tomatoes. So mainly the next couple weeks will be just maintaining the garden and then just hoping that everything will survive through the winter, and then we'll do this all again in the springtime. Look at these beautiful color on these blueberries. I was actually impressed with the colors they've changed into. Isn't that beautiful? Look at that color. I did get some blueberries this year, but planting it in the ground, first year it didn't really give me too much, so next year I'm hoping that it'll give me quite a bit. Over here seems to have quite a bit of bunny droppings, so I'm pretty sure they're decimating, of course, more pine cones. Coneflower, not pine cones, coneflower. So we'll see how well the garden's doing. This is bee balm. It has a tendency to spread, but it is really pretty and it does attract pollinators. This one over here has mold, mildew, mold issues. So must be getting a little bit too humid around here. But that is about it, you guys, for my garden. Thank you so much for watching this quick fall update. Like I said, the only thing that's in its full glory right now is this mum, and I'm really enjoying it. Giving me a little last bit of summer before winter fully hits, and then everything will die back. Thank you so much for watching, you guys, and I will see you in the next video. There has been quite a bit of things I've been doing, rooting, growing seedlings. I just haven't had a chance to do videos or uploads videos, but I'll try to get that up and going as soon as possible. Again, thank you for joining me. Thank you for watching. I appreciate you, and I hope that you have a wonderful day. Take care. Bye.